Good morning, gardening friends. Today is July 2nd, a Sunday, and it's about 6:30 in the morning. I'm out before the sun comes out because it's been hot. We had a couple of days in the high 90s, 98, 99, and today's going to be another scorcher. So I've been watering things, and things are still growing hand over fist. And I thought I'd show you the progress since last week. The big news, or exciting news, is the Plumeria is blooming. I've got a bunch more flowers to come there. The flowers are very fragrant. They, to me, smell a little bit of almond, vanilla, mixed with like yellow daffodil, just a very faint citrusy smell, kind of like daffodils tend to have. I've had that Plumeria now for about 3 or 4 years. I think I got it from Lowe's. It did nothing. I bought it in flower. Last year it did nothing. This year I repotted, and it seems to like it in full sun. I've been putting it in partial shade, but it seems to like full sun. Remember, I did say that you don't want to, at least my experience is, you don't want to twist, turn, or in any way change the relation of that plant to the sun. At least what I found in the past, even if you do like a quarter turn on the plant, the leaves start dropping. So I have not moved, touched, or done anything other than water that plant this year. And you should be able to see, I've got my white crepe myrtle is starting to bloom. It's got a lot more buds to come. I did buy a few plants this week, and I did repot my papyrus. Last year was the first time I started with papyrus, and apparently it grows linearly from the center, kind of grows like a grass. The center will die out and you'll have live clumps around the edges. And so I dug them out of the pots and hacked the roots quite significantly till I got down to a clump under this, what was green. And so far, so good. It's been about a week since I cut them back and repotted them. Of course, they don't, well, they could, I guess, show wilting, but I do keep those pots constantly moist so they don't have a chance really to dry out. I've tried through the years of having little ponds or putting plants in water features, and have had no luck because of the animals that visit my backyard. Whether it's raccoons or possums, they like to get inside the baths from time to time, and so any potted plants would be flipped on their sides and the water would be muddied. Believe me, I've tried. So you see a lot of features like this where it's just a bowl of water, and it looks pretty. I wanted to put goldfish in that bowl, and thank God I didn't, because of course this is a zone 8B. On a hot day, that bowl gets probably about 90 degrees or so. The poor fish would be cooked. I did cut a few branches of this banana, leaves I should say, because my angel's trumpet was growing towards the sun. You can see it's kind of leaning out. Of course, it's a blessing and a curse. Now that it gets more sun, it wilts in the heat of the day. So I just have to keep all my potted plants moist. My golden chalice vine is doing well. It's leafing out nicely. That's all it's really going to do until the fall. Oh, I did want to show you my coleus. Remember I told you last week or the week before about taking cuttings and putting them in a vase. I had these in my kitchen. I brought them out so I could show you. But they've been in this vase now for probably about a week and a half. And you can see already they're starting to root. So that's the nice thing about coleus. You can take a nice little cutting or a handful, place them in a vase anywhere in the house. They don't need to be in the light. Enjoy them as a arrangement, and they will sprout, and you can plant them. I bought some Bandito Yellow Lantana. I don't have a lot. I used to have more Lantana. Lantana in a zone 8B will come back year after year. The problem when you plant it in the ground, if you get a low one, you have to know what kind of lantana you're getting. Read the labels, because there are some old-fashioned lantanas that'll grow 6 feet tall. Others are trailing. These are a bush type, supposedly. But they do well. They winter over in a zone 8B. If you plant them in the ground, though, as I did, they're a pain in the butt to weed, because you literally have to find the base of each weed in the tangle of lantana. So through the years, I've gradually stopped growing them. But for a few, I did lose one of my toad lilies. It was the smaller one. So I'll be playing musical pots this week. I need to get a bigger pot for my clivia. That was a seedling. It's not ready to bloom yet, but I do like the fact that it has already formed 2 other little bulblets. So I'll put it in another pot. Those are my species amaryllis, the wild types, and they seem to like to summer over there. They did not bloom this year. Hopefully next year they'll bloom. And since the clivia is related, I figured I'd summer them over in the same spot. I'm going to plant my Dracaena in the front yard where the animals dug up the zucchini. Oh, I didn't say what I was going to do with that lantana. The lantana I bought, I have 2 geraniums in the front steps. And they're 2 years, well, they're going on their 2nd year now, and they kind of just look a little spent. So I'm not certain if I'm going to try and save them or not, but I'm going to put lantana in their place. Lantana you can let dry out and it'll wilt, but it'll come right back. It's kind of hard to kill. Here, color is all over the place. Crocosmia is still blooming. And the blue hydrangeas are still doing nicely. The color blue that shows up in the camera is not quite the same color of what's actually here in the ground. That's why I did a close-up. And this golden sedum is just spreading nicely. I did move this particular coleus. It kind of got beat down. It had too much sun, so I'm going to repot it and put it somewhere else. Well, I've stuck it here for now. This is a little shadier. These 2 pots are where I'm going to put the other 2 lantana. But yeah, everything here has greened up nicely. It's hot enough now that the weeds are being a little suppressed. I've stopped watering the lawn. I figure that's one of the things that's expendable in this heat wave, but as you can see, the lawn is still pretty green. This little area changed a little. I decided to put some vinca in here. This is where I had that coleus. I kind of rediscovered vinca this year. I don't normally put color in the backyard, but this year is an exception. I'm starting. And this mandevilla is just fantastic. I really like the look of that. I will probably try and save that. Just leave it inside my garage. It's a shame it doesn't have a scent. Some of them do. Some of the pink ones have a scent. And the yellow ones kind of smell like onion to me, but it is a scent. And the only other thing I wanted to point out today, I still have my turtle. I put the water out here. It doesn't look like he used it yesterday. He usually muddies the water when he comes in. He's still around somewhere in the backyard. I finally removed the potted ferns that I had on this back fence. And I got pots of red vinca. They happen to be on sale at Lowe's, and that's the reason why I got the vinca, and I kind of like it. I see the birds are having fun with one of the pots of vincas. They're probably going to put a nest in it. The birds work over everything in this backyard. Vinca does really well in a pot because I can water it from the edge of my flower bed with a hose, and the coleus would be beat down by the weight of the water, but vinca, on the other hand, you don't have to worry about it. It takes the pressure of the water well and doesn't really bend or deform. So I kind of like the look of that. This angel's trumpet is doing pretty well. I need to find some more leaves. I'm running out of, the mulch is disappearing. And of course here you can see the ponytail palm has actually all greened up now and none of it burned. And you can see the progress on this unknown nut tree. There are no other nut trees in the neighborhood. Now when I've dug them up in the past, they looked like they had pecans as the original seed. So I don't know what kind of nut tree this is, but it came up by itself. And it came up pretty much right where I wanted another tree to be, but for about a foot closer to the old stump there, so I'm just going to let it grow. Back in here, I did get rid of all of the male cycad cones. You can see the cone was on this side of the new growth, and it was kind of stunting the new growth from coming, so they'll catch up to each other eventually. And other than that, strawberries are still doing well. They're not, well, I guess there are a few green strawberries there. The major production is now over with. Here you can see the new growth coming on this male cycad. I just cut that cone out this last week. Let's see if there's any fruit left up here. Nope, the squirrels have been pretty much knocking the fruit down, which is good. It hasn't ripened. It'll turn orange when it ripens. But the squirrels like to eat the fruits raw or unripe on my pindo palm, which is fine by me. They have kind of a fermenting smell once when they start turning orange, kind of like butterscotch. And, oh, I did want to show you one other thing, and that's in the little side yard. I was looking at fruits and things coming on, and I did notice this particular Satsuma tree, which produced so heavily last year, has no fruit. And that's typically what happens. You'll have one year, you'll have a bunch of fruit. Next year, they'll be done. This Satsuma tree had thousands of fruits the year before. So much so that the whole canopy collapsed down and was touching the ground. And I'd say I cut about half of the tree off and took about 2 big trash bags full of Satsumas out, green Satsumas. But here you see it's going to have a few, maybe a dozen or so Satsumas, which is fine. And then over here, the little Satsuma tree in the front. Oh, I do have hummingbirds coming to the hummingbird feeder. There's a pair that seems to come every day, usually when the sun just starts coming out. And this is the Satsuma tree that has the most Satsumas. You can see the size of them already. They're actually quite big. It won't be ready until September-ish. And here you can see the coleus that I took the cuttings from is actually ready to take cuttings again. But that's about it for today. I hope you all are having a good 4th of July weekend. Drive safely. And I will see you next week. Take care.